Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Karen Marsdale and I am President and CEO at the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And we're here for another member spotlight with another great member of our organization. So Amy Hendrix is with us and she is a CRNP. I got that right, correct, Amy? Lots of acronyms in our world today. At Reading Dermatology, and she's also owner of Elegance Derma Spa. And so we're going to talk today about two businesses that Amy is involved with. And Reading Dermatology, as we know, has been in the area for a bit of time. And you and your husband were brought here to join a practice. And now it's kind of the buzz because you opened a great. The practice moved to a new location on Penn Avenue, where Ronco Pharmacy was, which was a great icon in the community. So. Couple of questions I have for you, Amy. First of all, tell us a little bit about Reading Derm.
So Reading Dermatology is just, it is just a phenomenal organization. It really is. We have the dermatology practice. Our focus is on all types of skincare issues, from skin to hair to nails. Surgical, we have a new radiation machine that helps with removing types of skin cancers, and now we have the cosmetic end of things, being Elegance Derma Spa. But if the core of Reading Dermatology really is all about family. My husband and I, we work together. Often.
We'll have to have a question or two about that.
Okay. Often our children will be seen in the practice, coming after school or whatever. Our employees are very close to us. We have pictures on the walls of their children and our children, and so it's very family oriented. And then when we get all the patients involved too, it's even more so. So it's very special. It's a different type of medical practice.
Well, I think that's. I think you could feel it when you go into the practice.
Good.
And I think it shows that you have the passion as a family to serve other families. And I know that the dermatology field in medicine for a period of time here in our community was suffering a bit with needing more good dermatologists. So I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're a part of the chamber too. You talked a little bit earlier about working with your husband, and it really doesn't matter whether it's physician and nurse but you're still working in a business environment with your husband. So talk a little bit about how those challenges are. You're always together, but you may have different opinions about things.
Sure. Well, we met working together,
so that's
that was something that wasn't new for us, and even in his residency and my training and in nurse practitioner school, we often would try to align our schedules together. If he had to work midnights, I would work midnights, and we just kind of tried to work at the same hospital if we could. We just really have common goals. So everything from the way that we want our kids to be raised, to the way that we want our business to thrive, to the way we want our household run. It makes it kind of easy when you want the goal to be similar.
Sure.
So how you get there might vary a little bit, but we're very good with communication, and generally it's a give and take like anything. So even in business, it's that way with other people in the business that we're not married to.
Absolutely. And in a former life, my husband and I worked together at a small business, so I know how that sort of 24/7 thing can work. So tell me a little bit how you have seen in the world of dermatology, because I think there's so much more awareness today.
Yes.
Back in years ago, you might go to the dermatologist if you were a teenager with acne or for some other reason. But I think we've become more educated about our skin.
Definitely.
And I know you are a big advocate, as is everyone in the practice, about really taking a proactive position and role.
Prevention is key for anything. I mean, if we, there's a lot of cancers in the world that you don't know you have until you have symptoms, until you're, feeling sick, or you have another issue because of that cancer. With skin cancer, there's a benefit that we can actually see it oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes we can see it before it ever becomes a problem. And so with that being said, it's a good idea to have the full skin exams so that we can look people over from head to toe and really just catch things early. You know, we don't like to catch cancers on people. We want to catch pre-skin cancers or abnormal moles that haven't yet changed and be able to prevent problems before they become anything.
And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't know about, the fact that they really should have a full body scan, just like they do in anything else, you know, going to the dentist or going to your other physicians for your yearly checkup. And you should really that should be part of your practice, really, of good prevention.
Absolutely.
And good health. So.
And it's easy.
It is.
It's easy.
It is. Folks, I'll tell you, it is easy. So not to fear. And I know the practice has grown. Therefore, having a need to expand into that beautiful location that you're now in. And would you say that a lot of the growth of that is word of mouth? Is it?
It is. Family and friends seems to be our number one referral source. Of course, other physicians in the area is up there, you know, with family and friends. And I think they fight for the two top ones every time we're trying to determine how we get our referrals. But it's definitely, you know, there's definitely a connection where somebody comes to see me and they say, oh, I sent my aunt to you and my brother's coming to you, and made my husband an appointment, he's coming too, you know. So when I say family affair, I mean not just the workers, but also the patients. You know, we get to know everybody's family.
And that really is, I think it's definitely a validation and a testimonial to the work that you're doing. Now, you know, something that I think is always interesting, particularly with professions such as medicine, you know, you go into the field because you want to help people, and you have a certain desire to make the world a better place in some little form or fashion. And then you get into business, you immediately become a business owner, and then it's like, wow, all of this other stuff that you have to work on, paperwork, balancing, you know, what you're going to rent, and are you going to purchase a location, etc. So how do you perceive that?
Well, the number one reason why people go into medicine is to take care of the person, and that always comes to the first and foremost of your mind whenever you're with somebody. You're not necessarily thinking about their insurance or thinking about what they signed on the dotted line for their deductible and things like this. You're thinking about, if they were my sister, what would I want to do for them? And so when you think that way, then you can follow it up by saying, you know, if there's certain things, you know, if your insurance doesn't cover this, or you have a problem, you let us know. Because there's some things we can do, there's some things we can't do legally, because you also, all the things that you mentioned about, you know, you want to take care of the person, you want to run a business, but behind medicine is also the government. And
unfortunately.
So you have to also take into account the things that you have that you can do legally with their insurances and with that whole, you know, management of things. So you just do what's best for the patient first and foremost, and then you follow it up with educating them and letting them know, you know, that communicate with us, because sometimes what happens is people go home and they get frustrated because their insurance company wasn't going to cover something, and they say, oh, forget it, I'm not even going to bother now. Well, that's not fixing the problem. We want to fix the problem for them. So if they call us, then, you know, we can help, and that's what we're there for, is to help them.
That's a great philosophy, and now more than ever, I mean, there are so many complications with and paperwork, and just the redundancy of all of that is.
And each person is so different.
Exactly.
Because you and I, we could have the same prescription, and we can have the same insurance plan, but you signed on the dotted line one way, and I signed on the dotted line one way, and so it may or may not cover it, depending on what we signed up for.
Yeah,
so.
it's just that in and of itself has been really a challenge, I think, particularly over the past few years. Yeah. So it's challenging. Well, now I want to talk about the next phase, which is Elegance Derma Spa. And not that you didn't have enough on your plate, of course, with raising a family and being in a full-time practice of, you know, a growing practice, you launched another business. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, we just found a need within the practice and within the community to, we would see patients oftentimes that had issues with their skin and they wanted to do things cosmetically, because we talked about insurances, that not everything's covered anymore like it used to be. There were some things that that were covered in the past that are not covered anymore, that are now considered cosmetic. So there were, patients that were suffering from acne, that had scarring,
Sure.
issues from acne. There were women that wanted, Botox and fillers and peels and things like this. And we have actually been doing a lot of those things through Redding Dermatology since day one. It's just people didn't necessarily know that. So we wanted to have a branch that was a little bit different. As we grew, we found a need to kind of put things in their own little departments, and so this is a department now of Redding Dermatology, is Elegance Derma Spa. So we offer all kinds of fun cosmetic things, and the peels and the Botox and all those things are still there, but it's such a great complement to Redding Dermatology too.
Sure.
Because these patients now have a place to go that they know is safe. We know their medical history. We know their, everything that they need as a person, because sometimes peels or different things are not safe for one person versus the next.
And I think that's also a big benefit, the fact that you have the medical side right alongside of the spa, because you're right. One size doesn't fit all, and I think people have a sense of confidence when they come to you, because they know that there's that piece that you've already been, that you are aware of, and that your staff has been trained to look for. So, it's just a natural, I think, which is wonderful. So, what would you say coming into this community, as someone who didn't grow up here?
Okay.
Tell us what you think of Berks County. I know you've been here for a bit of time, and now your family is being raised here. What do you think of this community?
I have to say that, and my husband, if he was sitting next to me, he would say the same thing. Within 3 months after living here, we had great friends. We found a great church. We found a great school for our children. We were meant to be here. I think God put us here because we were meant to be here. We can't see ourselves living anywhere else, had you asked me when I was 20 or my husband, when he was 20, think you'll ever be living in Berks County, Pennsylvania, we both would have laughed, because we didn't even know where Berks County was.
We didn't know where it was on the map, right?
Right, Monopoly. Then we knew.
Right.
That's
what I always say. No matter how far you go, you can always say we're on the Monopoly board. Well,
right.
It's been a pleasure, Amy. Thank you so much for being with us,
and
for those of you, Redding Dermatology and Elegance Derma Spa, right on Penn Avenue in Sinking Spring.
West Lawn. At the old Broncos building.
At the old Broncos building. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of the chamber. Appreciate it.